Captain Taewon Kim stood on the bridge of the peaceful envoy, his eyes fixed on the main screen. The human ship floated against the black of space, its shape unlike any other ship in the Galactic Alliance. It had sharp angles and thick armor plates. Red and white lights blinked along its hull. "Sir, we are now in range of the human vessel," said Communications Officer Sun Mi Park. Her fingers moved quickly over her control panel. "Should we begin first contact protocol?" Taewon nodded. This was his 12th first contact mission, but humans were different. Reports said they had only discovered faster-than-light travel 5 years ago. Most races took decades to build proper warships after that. The humans had done it in 2 years. "Run the standard scan," Taewon ordered. "I want to know what we're dealing with." Chief Science Officer Do-hyun Lee pressed a series of buttons on his console. "Beginning scan now, Captain. Full spectrum analysis." The peaceful envoy was the pride of the Alliance diplomatic fleet. Its scanning technology could see through almost any shield. It could count the crew, map the ship's layout, and even read weapon energy levels. This information was vital for safety. The Alliance had learned long ago that new species could be unpredictable. "Scan will complete in 10 seconds, Do-hyun reported. Taewon watched the progress bar fill on the screen. 8 seconds. 9 seconds. Suddenly the lights on the bridge went out. Red emergency lights clicked on. The main screen turned black. "What happened?" Taewon demanded, gripping the arms of his command chair. Engineering Officer Jin Ho-yoon's voice came over the emergency channel. "Captain, we've lost main power. Backup systems are coming online now, but most of our systems are not responding." Do-hyun stared at his backup display, his face pale in the red emergency light. "Sir, it was the scan. The moment our scan touched their ship, something came back through the signal." "That's impossible," Taewon said. "The scan was one way. Nothing could reverse it." Sunmi looked up from her station. "Captain, the human ship is hailing us." Taewon straightened his uniform. "Put them on screen." The emergency screen flickered to life. A human woman appeared. She had short black hair and wore a dark uniform with silver symbols on the collar. Her face showed no fear or anger, just calm control. "This is Captain Ji Young-song of the Earth Defense Force vessel Indomitable," she said in perfect galactic standard. "You attempted to scan our ship without permission. We consider this a hostile action." Taewon blinked in surprise. How did they translate the language so quickly? "I am Captain Taewon Kim of the Galactic Alliance vessel Peaceful Envoy," he replied. "The scan was standard first contact protocol. We meant no offense." Captain Song's expression didn't change. "Your scan has been blocked, and a small counterpulse was sent to temporarily disable your non-essential systems. Your life support and communication remain functional." Taewon felt a chill run down his spine. The humans had not just detected their scan, but had sent something back through it, something that shut down the most advanced ship in the diplomatic fleet. "If you had asked permission first," Captain Song continued, "we would have shared basic information willingly. Forced information gathering is considered an act of aggression in human space." Around the bridge, systems slowly began to come back online. Screens flickered to life. The normal lights returned. "Captain," whispered Do-hyun, "our scans show their counterpulse could have been much stronger. They chose to only disable us temporarily." Taewon nodded slightly. This was both concerning and a relief. The humans could have done much worse, but they showed restraint. "Captain Song, please accept our apologies," Taewon said. "Our protocol was developed over centuries of first contact situations. We will update it immediately in regard to human vessels." For the first time, Captain Song's expression softened slightly. "Apology accepted, Captain Kim. We understand different cultures have different views on privacy. But you should know that all human ships, even civilian ones, carry counter-intrusion defense systems, what we call CIDS." "CIDS?" Taewon asked. "Yes. It automatically detects unauthorized scans and responds accordingly. The response scales based on the intensity of the scan and the apparent intent." She paused. "What you experienced was a level 1 response, a simple warning." The bridge crew exchanged worried glances. If this was level 1, what would higher levels do? Captain Song continued. We have 5 response levels. You don't want to know what level 5 does. No one has survived to report it. Navigation Officer, He Jin-cho whispered. Are they threatening us? Taewon raised his hand to silence her. Not a threat, he said quietly. A warning. On screen, Captain Song's expression became more friendly. Now that we understand each other better, perhaps, we can start again. The Earth Council has authorized me to open diplomatic relations with the Galactic Alliance. Taewon nodded. Yes, that is also our mission. Perhaps you would accept our invitation to come aboard? We have proper meeting facilities. I accept, Captain Song replied. I will bring a small team. We will arrive in 30 minutes. After the communication ended, the bridge was silent for a moment. Captain, said Security Chief Jun-ho Kang, how could they have such advanced defensive technology? Our report said they only achieved FTL travel 5 years ago. Taewon looked thoughtful. It seems humans developed in a different order than most species. While other races focused on speed and exploration, they focused on defense. But why? Asked Sun-mi. I don't know, Taewon admitted. Perhaps their history has made them cautious, or perhaps they expected a hostile universe. Do-hyun was examining the scan data. Sir, the little information we gathered before our systems were shut down shows their hull is made of materials we've never seen before, and there are strange energy signatures throughout their ship. Prepare the meeting room, Taewon ordered, and send all scan data to Alliance headquarters. Mark it, highest priority. As his crew rushed to follow orders, Taewon stared at the human ship on the screen. Its design was unusual, bulky in some places, sleek in others. It looked like it was built to take heavy damage and keep fighting. What are we dealing with? He murmured to himself. 3 hours later, after the initial meeting with Captain Song and her team, Taewon sat alone in his quarters writing his report. He typed the final words carefully. In conclusion, we have severely underestimated human technological capabilities. Their defensive systems are beyond anything in Alliance records. Most concerning is their cultural approach to information sharing. They consider unauthorized scanning equal to a physical attack and respond accordingly. I strongly recommend immediate updates to first contact protocols and, most urgently, that no Alliance vessel attempts to scan a human ship without explicit permission. Based on what I've seen today, I believe a scan of an actual human warship, not just a diplomatic vessel like the Indomitable, would result in catastrophic consequences for the scanning vessel. He paused, then added one final line. The humans have a saying they shared with me today. Good fences make good neighbors. I believe we should take this wisdom to heart. 3 months had passed since the first contact with humans. Admiral Ha-Jun Park walked through the grand hallway of the Galactic Alliance Central Building. His steps echoed on the polished stone floor. Today was important. He would present his findings about human technology to the Security Council. Ha-Jun entered the council chamber. 12 council members sat at a large curved table. They represented the most powerful races in the Alliance. They all fell silent as Ha-Jun approached the speaking platform. Admiral Park, said Council Chair Myung-suk Lee, you may begin your presentation. Ha-Jun bowed slightly and activated the hologram projector. A 3-dimensional image of a human warship appeared in the center of the room. Honored council members, he began. For the past 3 months, I have led the research team studying human defensive capabilities. What we have discovered is concerning. He touched a control, and the ship image rotated slowly. This is the EDF Defender, a mid-sized human warship. Unlike Alliance ships, human vessels are built around a philosophy they call prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Council member Ji-ho Kang leaned forward. Explain this philosophy. Humans evolved on a planet with many dangerous predators, Ha-Jun said. They had to assume threats could appear at any time. This thinking shaped their entire history. When they reached space, they carried this mindset with them. He changed the display to show the inner systems of the ship. While we developed technologies focused on communication, trade, and exploration, humans prepared for war, even before they met any alien life. A murmur passed through the council members. "Are you saying they expected us to be hostile?" asked council member Seo Jin-yoon. Ha-jun shook his head. "Not exactly. They hoped for peaceful contact, but built their ships to survive if things went wrong. This is why their counter-intrusion defense system, CIDS, is so advanced." He zoomed in on various parts of the ship model. The CIDS is not one system, but many working together. When a scan hits a human ship, special sensors detect the scan's type and source instantly. The ship then creates a counter-signal that follows the scan back to its source. "Like tracking a bullet back to the gun that fired it," said military advisor Min Jae-choi, who sat in the back of the room. "Exactly," Ha-jun agreed. "But the counter-signal does more than track. It can deliver various responses, from simply blocking the scan to sending back pulses that disable or even destroy the scanning ship." The council chamber grew very quiet. The peaceful envoy incident was actually a minimal response. Ha-jun continued. "Captain Song later told us her ship only used level 1 defensive measures. The human ships have 5 levels of response." "And what do the higher levels do?" asked Council Chair Lee. Ha-jun's face became grim. "Level 2 temporarily disables all systems on the scanning ship. Level 3 permanently damages critical systems. Level 4 turns the scanning ship's own energy against it, causing internal explosions." He paused. "And level 5? prompted Jiho Kang. "They won't tell us," Ha-jun said simply. "But human diplomatic officials hinted it involves something they call quantum backfire. Whatever it is, they say no ship has ever survived it." More murmurs filled the room, louder now. "How is this possible?" demanded Seo Jin-yoon. "We have been traveling space for centuries longer than humans. How could they develop technology we don't have?" Ha-jun changed the display again. This time it showed a timeline. "This is what makes humans unique. Most species develop technology in a similar pattern. First comes basic space travel, then faster-than-light engines, then weapons and defenses." He pointed to the human timeline. Humans did it differently. They developed strong defenses before they even left their solar system. They were always afraid something dangerous might exist in space. Military advisor Min Jae stood up. "Admiral, what you're saying is that humans spent centuries preparing for an enemy that didn't exist yet." "Yes," said Ha-jun. "And now that they've met us, they're not changing their approach. Every human ship, even civilian transports, carries some version of the CIDS. Council Chair Lee rubbed her temples. "What do you recommend, Admiral?" Ha-jun straightened his uniform. "First, we must immediately update First Contact Protocol. No scans of human vessels under any circumstances without explicit permission. Second, we need to study their defensive technology and develop our own version. And third," he added, "we should be grateful." "Grateful?" asked Jiho Kang with surprise. "Yes," Ha-jun said. "Grateful that humans are peaceful despite their defensive capabilities. If they wanted to be aggressive, we would be facing an enemy unlike any we've encountered before." The council chamber was silent as everyone considered this. "There's one more thing," Ha-jun said, changing the display one last time. It showed a recording of his conversation with a human officer. In the recording, Ha-jun asked, "Why do you put these defensive systems on every ship? Surely civilian vessels don't need such protection." The human officer, a man named Jae-sung Won, smiled slightly. "Admiral Park, in human history, civilians have always been targets in war. We decided long ago that never again would our people be defenseless." Ha-jun stopped the recording. "This shows something important about human culture. To them, privacy and security are not just military concerns, they are universal rights. When we scanned the Indomitable without permission, we violated something sacred to them." Council Chair Lee nodded slowly. "I see. Then we must respect their customs, just as we ask them to respect ours." She looked around the chamber. "The council will vote now on Admiral Park's recommendations." The vote was quick and unanimous. No Alliance ship would scan a human vessel without permission again. After the meeting, Hajun walked with military advisor Min Jai in the garden outside the council building. Do you think humans will share their defensive technology with us? Min Jai asked. Hajun looked up at the stars appearing in the evening sky. They might, eventually. But first, we need to earn their trust. And if we don't? Min Jai's voice was quiet. Then we pray no one is foolish enough to scan a real human warship, Hajun replied. The Indomitable was just a diplomatic vessel with basic defenses. Their actual warships? He shook his head. I don't want to find out what would happen. As they walked in silence, both men thought about the strange new species that had joined the galactic community. Humans were peaceful, yes, but they came prepared for war. It was a contradiction that made them both fascinating and frightening. In his office later that night, Hajun added a personal note to his official report. Humans have a saying. Speak softly and carry a big stick. I believe we are only beginning to understand how big their stick really is. 2 years after first contact with humans, the galaxy had changed. Human ships now traveled many trade routes. They sold their goods and bought others. They made friends with some races and kept their distance from others. On the border space, Station Harmony Junction, Intelligence Officer Sujin Beck sat at her desk. Her job was to track criminal activity in this sector. Lately, her work had been busy. The Nexus Syndicate, a group of space pirates, had been attacking more ships than ever. Sujin rubbed her tired eyes. She had been reading reports all day. Most told the same story. Pirates attacked, stole cargo, and left. But one report was different. She read it again. A knock on her door interrupted her thoughts. Come in, she called. Analyst Minho Choi entered, carrying a data pad. Lieutenant Bayek, you need to see this, he said, placing the pad on her desk. It's security footage from the Outer Rim, from yesterday. Sujin tapped the pad and a video began to play. It showed 3 pirate ships surrounding a large, boxy transport ship. That's the human transport Resilient, Minho explained. It was carrying medicine and farm equipment to the colony on Nexus 4. On the screen, one of the pirate ships moved closer to the human transport. This is the moment, Minho said. Watch. A thin beam of light connected the pirate ship to the human transport. Sujin recognized it as a scanning beam. Pirates always scanned ships before attacking, looking for weapons and valuable cargo. 3 seconds after the scan began, something strange happened. The pirate ship suddenly spun to the side as if hit by something. Its engines flared bright blue, then went dark. The ship began to drift. What happened? Sujin asked, leaning closer to the screen. Keep watching, Minho said. The second pirate ship fired energy weapons at the human transport, but the shots never hit their target. Instead, they curved back and hit the pirate ship's own shields. The third pirate ship turned to run away. It got about half a kilometer before all its lights went out. It too began to drift helplessly in space. The human transport continued on its way, completely undamaged. Sujin sat back in her chair. That's amazing. The transport wasn't even a military vessel. No, Minho agreed. It was just a regular cargo ship, but it had human defensive systems. Sujin thought about what she had read earlier. This matches the report I just received. The Nexus Syndicate has declared humans as prohibited targets for all their operations. Space pirates are avoiding humans? Minho asked with surprise. The Nexus Syndicate doesn't avoid anyone. They've attacked Alliance military vessels before. Not anymore, it seems, Sujin said. She stood up and walked to the window. From here she could see ships coming and going from the station. A human vessel was currently docking. It was small but sturdy looking. The word is spreading across the galaxy, she said. No one scans human ships anymore, not even pirates. Minho came to stand beside her. Do you think we could get the humans to share their technology with us? Sujin shook her head. The Alliance has been trying for 2 years. Humans are friendly but very private about their defensive systems. Meanwhile, in a different part of the station, engineers Yujin Kang and Hyunwoo Shin were in a secure lab. They were studying pieces of the pirate ships that had attacked the Resilient. Look at this, Yujin said, pointing to a burnt circuit. Bored. The scanning system didn't just fail, it melted from the inside. Hyunwoo examined it through a magnifying device. It's like the energy was redirected back into the scanner, but amplified. And here, Yujin continued, moving to another table. The weapons control system from the second ship. The targeting computer was reprogrammed in seconds to target its own shields. Hyunwoo frowned. But how? The human ship didn't fire anything. It just reflected everything back. Not just reflected, Yujin corrected. Enhanced. The damage to these systems is greater than what the original scan or weapons could do. Hyunwoo picked up a small device from the table. It was the memory core from the third pirate ship's engines. And this one is the strangest of all. It shows the engines were running normally, then suddenly the computer thought they were overheating and shut them down. But there was no actual overheating. The human defense system made the computer think there was a problem when there wasn't, Yujin said. She sat down and typed notes into her pad. We need to report this to Alliance headquarters. Project Mirror Shield needs to be accelerated. Do you think we can recreate this technology? Hyunwoo asked. Yujin looked at the damaged parts spread across the tables. Maybe, someday. But the humans have had centuries to perfect it. We're just beginning to understand how it works. Later that evening, Soo-jin met with Station Commander Jun-ho Lee to discuss the day's events. So the rumors are true, Commander Lee said after hearing her report. Human civilian ships can defend themselves against multiple attackers without firing a single shot. Yes, sir, Soo-jin confirmed. And there's more. I've received reports from 3 different sectors today. The Orion Trade Guild, the Centauri, merchants, and even the Pleiades Mining Corporation are all requesting human ships to transport their most valuable cargo. Commander Lee raised his eyebrows. Everyone wants human protection now. Soo-jin nodded. Human shipping costs have tripled in the past month, but everyone is willing to pay. A human transport virtually guarantees safe delivery. And what about their actual warships? Commander Lee asked. Have we learned anything new about them? Very little, sir, Soo-jin admitted. Humans keep their military vessels away from most populated areas. They patrol the borders of their territory, but they don't interfere with other races unless asked for help. Commander Lee looked thoughtful. Perhaps that's for the best. If their civilian ships can do this, I can't imagine what their warships are capable of. As they talked, a priority message arrived from Alliance headquarters. Commander Lee read. It quickly then handed it to Soo-jin. New orders, he said. All Alliance vessels are to give human ships a wide berth in space. Minimum safe distance is now 5 kilometers, and under no circumstances is any scan to be directed at them without prior permission. Soo-jin read the message. It's signed by Admiral Park himself. He's right to be cautious, Commander Lee said. The galaxy is changing. For thousands of years, we thought we understood the rules of space. Humans have shown us we still have much to learn. That night, Soo-jin stood on the observation deck watching the stars. A human diplomatic officer named Jun Kim joined her. Beautiful, isn't it? He said, nodding toward the view. Yes, Soo-jin agreed. After a moment, she added, There was an incident today with pirates in one of your transports. Jun nodded. The resilient news travels fast. Why do you make your ship so defensive? Soo-jin asked. Even when you're not at war? Jun looked at the stars for a long time before answering. On Earth, we have an old saying. The best offense is a good defense. We don't want to fight, but we always want to be ready if fighting comes to us. And has it worked? Soo-jin asked. Jun smiled slightly. Well, no one dares scan our ships anymore. So yes, I'd say it's working very well. 6 months after the pirate incident, Jaehwa Ryu sat at her station in the Alliance Monitoring Center. As emergency response coordinator, she watched over a busy sector of space. Her job was to prevent problems before they started. Today was not going well. A red warning light flashed on her console. What is it? She asked analyst Yoon Seo Nam, who sat at the next station. Yoon Seo's fingers moved quickly over his screen. The Krell battlecruiser cleansing fire has entered the Tau sector. It's heading toward the neutral trading post. Jaehwa frowned. The Krell Empire was trouble. They didn't join the Galactic Alliance. They believed they were better than other races. For years they had stayed in their own territory, but lately they had been pushing into new areas. "Any other ships in that sector?" she asked. Yuncio checked his screen. "Yes. A human diplomatic cruiser called Olive Branch is docked at the trading post." Jaehua felt a chill run down her spine. Humans and Krell had never met before. This could be bad. "Send a message to the cleansing fire," she ordered. "Remind them that the trading post is neutral ground, and warn them about human defense protocols." Monitoring Officer Daehyun Kwan sent the message. They waited for a response. "No answer," Daehyun reported after a few minutes. "The Krell are ignoring our transmission." Jaehua watched the dots on her screen move closer together. The Krell ship was now very near the trading post. "The human ship is sending first contact greeting messages," Yunseo said. "Standard protocol. They're being very polite." "Are the Krell responding?" Jaehua asked. "No, they're—" Yunseo paused, his eyes widening. "They're demanding the human ship identify itself and submit to a full security scan." The room went quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. "The humans are explaining their scanning protocols," Daehyun said. "They've sent the first contact information package 14 times now." "The Krell aren't listening," Yunseo added. "They're insisting on the scan." Jaehua hit the emergency channel button. "Krell vessel cleansing fire. This is Alliance Monitoring Station Delta. Do not scan the human vessel. Repeat, do not initiate scan." On the main screen, they could see the massive Krell battlecruiser. It was the pride of the Krell fleet, nearly 2 kilometers long with weapons pointing in all directions. Next to it, the human diplomatic cruiser looked small and plain. "The Krell are powering their primary scanning array," Daehyun reported, his voice tense. "Full spectrum, maximum power." "No, no, no," Jaehua whispered. She hit the emergency channel. Again. "Krell vessel, abort your scan immediately, I repeat," but it was too late. On the screen, a bright beam shot from the Krell ship to the human vessel. For 3 long seconds, nothing happened. The beam connected the two ships like a bridge of light. Then, strange patterns of light began to move across the Krell ship's hull. It looked like ripples on water spreading from the scanning array to the rest of the ship. "What's happening?" Jaehua demanded. "The human defense system," Yunseo whispered. "It's not just returning the scan, it's amplifying it, feeding the energy back into the Krell ship's own systems." The Krell battlecruiser's engines ignited at full power, but the ship didn't move. It vibrated in place, shaking violently. "The Krell are sending a distress signal," Daehyun reported. "They've lost control of their ship's systems." On screen, the cleansing fire's hull began to glow red from inside. Small explosions popped along its surface like bubbles bursting. "They're overloading," Yunseo said. "The human defense system has turned their own power against them." Jaehua hit the emergency channel again. "Human vessel Olive Branch, can you stop your defense response? The Krell ship is in danger of total destruction." A calm human voice replied. "This is Captain Yoonji Lim of the Olive Branch. I'm sorry, but the counter-intrusion defense system cannot be stopped once triggered by a level 4 scan. The Krell used maximum power on their scan. The response is automatic and proportional." On the screen, larger explosions ripped through the Krell ship. Escape pods launched from its sides, tiny dots racing away from the dying vessel. "Tracking escape pods," Daehyun said. 47 launched. That's less than 10% of their crew. The cleansing fire's main reactor reached critical failure. The mighty battlecruiser exploded in a blinding flash. When the light faded, only floating debris remained. The human ship continued on its original course, completely undamaged. In the monitoring station, no one spoke. They stared at the screen in shock. Finally, Jaehua found her voice. "Send rescue ships for the escape pods, and inform Alliance headquarters. They need to know what happened." That evening, every major power in the galaxy received the same message. From Earth Command: "We come in peace. We stay in strength. We value privacy and personal boundaries. Please respect them." 3 days later, Jaehua sat in a meeting room with Alliance officials and human representatives. The mood was tense. Admiral Ha-Jun Park spoke first. The destruction of the cleansing fire has caused great concern among Alliance members. A ship with over 500 crew members was destroyed without a single weapon being fired. Captain Hyunji Lim of the Olive Branch nodded sadly. We regret the loss of life. We tried to warn the Krell 14 times before they initiated their scan. Why couldn't you stop the defense system once it started? Asked Council Member Ji-Ho Kang. The CIDS is designed to be unstoppable once triggered, Captain Lim explained. If it could be turned off, enemies could use that against us. But your ship wasn't even a warship, said Admiral Park. It was a diplomatic vessel. Captain Lim looked directly at him. All human ships carry the CIDS. The Olive Branch has our basic diplomatic model. It's designed to protect, not attack. And yet, a battlecruiser was destroyed, Council Member Kang said quietly. The Krell used their most powerful scanning beam, Captain Lim replied. The CIDS response is always proportional to the scan. They essentially attack themselves with our mirror. Jae-hwa had been listening silently. Now she spoke up. What would have happened if they had scanned an actual human warship, not a diplomatic vessel? The room went very quiet. Captain Lim's expression became serious. Then we wouldn't be having this conversation, she said simply. The Krell Empire would be looking for a new fleet. After the meeting, Admiral Park walked with Jae-hwa down the hallway. The Krell Empire has formally apologized to Earth, he told her. They've promised never to scan any human vessel again. Will there be peace? Jae-hwa asked. Admiral Park nodded. I believe so. The Krell respect strength above all else. The humans just proved they have it, without firing a single shot. It's strange, Jae-hwa said. The humans keep saying they want peace, but they built ships that can destroy anyone who threatens them. Perhaps that's why they've survived, Admiral Park replied. As they say, speak softly and carry a big stick. We're just beginning to understand how big their stick really is. He paused, then added, and now no one dares scan a human warship. 1 year after the cleansing fire incident, the Great Hall of the Galactic Assembly was filled with representatives from over 200 worlds. Today was historic. The Assembly would vote on a new addition to the Galactic Code. Ambassador Tae-wan Kim, once captain of the Peaceful Envoy, stood at the speaker's platform. He had worked hard for this day. Fellow representatives, he began, his voice carrying across the hall. Today we vote on the Scan Consent Protocol. This simple addition to our code states that no ship may be scanned without prior permission from its captain. He paused, looking around the room. Many nodded in agreement. There are, of course, exceptions for emergency situations, Tae-wan continued. These are listed in Appendix C of the document. But the basic rule is clear. We must respect each other's privacy in space, just as we would respect it in person. Representative Sen-hee Cho of the Trade Federation raised her hand. Ambassador Kim, this protocol was created because of human defensive systems. Will all ships now need such defenses to ensure their privacy? Tae-wan shook his head. No, Representative Cho. The point of this protocol is that we agree to respect each other without the need for force. We follow these rules because they are right, not because we fear consequences. But what about those who don't follow rules? Asked Representative Dae-sung Park of the Outer Colonies. Pirates and outlaws don't care about our protocols. That is true, Tae-wan admitted. For those situations, defensive technology remains important. The humans have offered to share limited versions of their scanning detection systems with Alliance members. This caused excited whispers throughout the hall. Human technology was highly valued. However, Tae-wan added, the counter-intrusion defense system itself remains exclusively human. They believe such power requires great responsibility. The assembly voted. The result appeared on the large screen at the front of the hall, 198 there. In favor, 0 against 3 abstaining. The Scan Consent Protocol was now part of the Galactic Code. Later that day, Taiwan met with Human Ambassador Ji Young-song in the gardens outside the Assembly building. Once the captain of the Indomitable, she now represented Earth in diplomatic matters. Congratulations, Ambassador Kim, she said, offering him a cup of tea. The protocol passed with almost unanimous support. Tae-wan accepted the tea with a small bow. Only because of what happened with the Krell. Fear is a powerful motivator. Ji-young sipped her tea. Perhaps at first. But I believe most races support the protocol because it's right. Privacy is a concept all intelligent beings understand. They sat on a bench overlooking a small pond. Above them, ships moved across, the sky like slow-moving stars. It's been an interesting 3 years, Tae-wan said. When we first met, I thought humans were just another developing species. I was very wrong, Ji-young smiled. Many have made that mistake. Humans look simple, on the outside. Our ships aren't the largest or the fastest, but we've learned to be careful. Your defensive technology changed galactic politics forever, Tae-wan said. The Krell Empire now respects alliance boundaries. The Nexus Syndicate avoids human space, entirely. And smaller races finally have a voice because their privacy is protected. Ji-young nodded. Humanity learned important lessons on Earth before we reached the stars. Privacy invasions led to wars. Information theft collapsed economies. So when we finally built starships, we made sure they could protect themselves. And now the galaxy is safer for it, Tae-wan acknowledged. They watched as a human military vessel passed overhead. It was long and sleek, with the Earth Defense Force symbol on its side. I've always wondered, Tae-wan said quietly, what would happen if someone scanned an actual human warship, not a diplomatic vessel like the Indomitable or Olive Branch? Ji-young's expression turned serious. The cleansing fire encountered our most basic system. Military vessels carry more advanced versions. How advanced? Tae-wan asked. Ji-young looked up at the human warship. The CIDS on our military vessels doesn't just reflect energy back. It can redirect it anywhere within range. You mean? A level 5 response from a military-grade CIDS could potentially redirect the scanning energy to another target, Ji-young explained. Not just back to the scanner. Tae-wan's eyes widened as he understood. So if multiple ships attacked a human warship, the first attacker's energy could be used against the second against the third, and so on. Ji-young finished. The more attackers, the worse it would be for all of them. Tae-wan shook his head in amazement. No wonder no one dares scan a human warship. And with your new protocol, no one needs to, Ji-young said. Which is exactly as we prefer it. That evening, Tae-wan attended a celebration dinner at the human embassy. The room was filled with diplomats from many worlds, all talking and enjoying Earth foods and drinks. He found himself standing next to Admiral Hajun Park, who was examining a model of a human warship on display. Impressive design, the Admiral said. Efficient and practical. Tae-wan nodded. Ambassador Song told me more about their defensive capabilities today. It's concerning. Oh? The Admiral raised an eyebrow. Their military-grade CIDS can redirect scanning energy to other targets, Tae-wan explained in a low voice. If 5 ships scanned a human warship, they could all be used to destroy each other. Admiral Park whistled softly. That explains why they're so confident. Their ships are virtually untouchable, but they don't want to fight, Tae-wan pointed out. They pushed hardest for the scan consent protocol. They want rules, not wars. A species that prepares for the worst but works for the best, Admiral Park mused. We're lucky they're friendly. Across the room, Ambassador Song was speaking with a group of young diplomats. Tae-wan heard her explaining Earth customs and traditions. She was patient and kind, nothing like the fearsome image one might expect from a race with such powerful technology. The dinner continued, with speeches and toasts to peace and cooperation. As the evening ended, Tae-wan found himself again with Ji-young. To the future, she said, raising her glass. To privacy and respect, he replied, touching his glass to hers. And to rules that make weapons unnecessary, she added with a smile. As guests began to leave, Ji-young walked with Tae-wan to the door. You know, she said, there's an old saying on Earth. Good fences make good neighbors. Tae-wan nodded. I remember. You shared that with me during our first meeting. It's still true, Ji-young said. The scan consent protocol is our fence. It helps us all be better neighbors. Tae-wan looked up at the night sky. where stars and ships shared the darkness. The galaxy had changed in just 3 years. A new species had arrived with technology no one expected, and privacy had become a universal right. No one dares scan. A human warship, he said softly. But thanks to your CIDS and our new protocol, no one needs to anymore. Ji-young smiled. And that's exactly the peace we hoped for when we first looked to the stars. As Taewon left the embassy, he thought about how quickly the galaxy had adapted. Humanity's defensive philosophy had forced everyone to reconsider basic ideas about privacy, security, and first contact. The species that everyone had initially underestimated had, in the end, made the galaxy safer for all. The human warship that had passed overhead earlier was now a distant light among the stars. Powerful, dangerous if provoked, but peacefully watching over its small corner of the galaxy, much like humanity itself.